My name's Patricia from Whatever Works Wellness Consultancy. It's good to see you again. So today I thought I'd talk about being ignored in healthcare. This is unfortunately a very common problem. I have plenty of clients who tell me their stories, and just about everyone out there's got a story. So talking more about how to source information for yourself if you find that you can't get your information from some other recognised source, such as a specialist or a GP. So mind me, I'm just checking my notes. So being ignored is actually fundamentally cruel. And when someone receives cruelty, they can react a myriad of ways. They can react with just complete shutdown. So in a healthcare setting, this would be someone who's ignored by their provider, and then they subsequently never go back to a doctor ever again, including if they've got symptoms that they're actually concerned about. Because their history is being ignored, they don't need that on top of the thing that they're worrying about. So another way a person can react when they're ignored is to go, well, F you, Dr. Man, I'll go and find the information for myself. That is certainly the case with a lot of my clients. They, women, autoimmune people, do typically get told that they're causing problems or that they're just anxious or something similar like that, when in actual fact they're very unwell. So their options usually are at that stage to source their own way of treating things until either their symptoms get bad enough that they get diagnosed with something, or they start to get better or can at least cope better. So the one thing that I always advise clients is the sooner you get over your hurt feelings, the better you'll actually treat yourself and advocate for yourself. Now, that sounds very, very cold, but it is the truth. Hurt feelings can often cloud your judgment and make you adhere to more crackpot type of ways of treating things, or people who might not be on the correct wavelength for you. They're not professional enough or something like that. It's perfectly okay in one factor, but in the other, they'll just basically rip your money and run, and then you're left still unwell. Then you go back to the doctor and the doctor goes, oh, look at you, dickhead. You didn't come and see us and get it sorted when it was still a thing that we could sort. So all in all, the patient is rough done by every step of the way. So the sooner you move through the emotions of being hurt that you were ignored, especially in the primary times that you're trying to source information, the better. So being your own advocate is knowing how to source information correctly just as much as to actually enact that information correctly. So before trying a new regime or supplement, I'm going to read out a list because it's actually quite long. The points are not hard, it's just long. I'll teach you how you look for a charlatan. So a lot of people, they source their information online now, and online, my God. So this is how to source someone who's really doing the wrong thing in my industry, or someone who's just selling supplements or nutritional aids or whatever, okay? So if someone is using paid celebrities or giving you the old razzle dazzle, you know, basically going, oh my God, yes, woohoo, we're all on it, this will just fix everything, it's not going to. This is no offense towards celebrities of any description, but what the hell do they know? Is a celebrity sick like you're sick? Are they broke like you're broke? Have they been ignored like you are? No, otherwise why would they get paid? So who are they to speak on your behalf? Do they have the training? Do they have the health condition? If they don't have either, well then really they're just a paid mouthpiece for something that they either don't know how it works or don't necessarily believe in it. Or their opinions can change depending on how many dollars they're paid. Having just said that as well, in Australia, testimonials of any description, whether it's from a layperson or a celebrity, when you're prescribing health products certified through the TGA or through what they call APRA, I myself am under those classifications. We can't do testimonials. So everyone goes, oh, well, why don't you talk about it if it's so good? And the answer is, I will talk about it, but I can't allow on my website or other people that are associated with me to talk about what I'm doing. That's frowned upon. Big no-no, okay? Now, what's the next point? Oh, yes. If someone's advertising, so like external circumstances and aids only, they might not be qualified enough to prescribe things for the internal. So like if they're only prescribing weight loss or muscle building or post muscle recovery or skincare, they're probably not the most qualified to prescribe something, say if you're autoimmune or you've got cancer or whatever, okay? It doesn't mean that they're not, but perhaps look a little bit harder at what they're saying before just going, oh, well, you know, my skin looks nice, so of course they know what they're talking about. They might not. It is night and day when it comes to gaining qualifications between someone who practices nutritional medicine, herbalism, or so on, and someone who can put nice things on your skin. That's a totally different level of qualification. It doesn't mean that they don't have both, but it might be worth checking into it a little bit more. The next point is any product that is behind a paywall or behind some special club, you know, that might set off a few red flags for you. It doesn't mean the practitioners, like I put myself in this category, it doesn't mean the practitioners that will talk about a product, but they won't talk about specific dosages. I'll only talk about specific dosages with a product if the general idea is it's actually quite a safe product, no matter what health condition you've got. So I might talk about N-acetylcysteine, might talk about magnesium or milk thistle, but I'm not going to be talking about specifics of certain vitamins and herbs, sleeping aids, mental health aids, without going, oh, well, what else are you on? Not every medicine is safe and not every dosage is safe, as we have seen lately. B6 and pre-workout is definitely something that's happening in Australia at the moment, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so another thing to look out for is anything that promises a complete cure. So people with my qualifications, we cannot advertise cure. We can advertise assistance with. We can say that we prefer to specialize in. We can't say we're a specialist of. We can't say that we can cure you. It doesn't mean that we can't move you towards some kind of situation where you receive a complete remission or a cure, but we can't advertise that, okay? Also, anything that won't disclose ingredients. We have to disclose the ingredients we prescribe to you. That is a safety issue. Anyone who can't disclose their ingredients to you is not adhering to legislation, at least in Australia. This is because some mystery thing on a bottle, you have a bad reaction, you go to the hospital, they go, what do you take? You don't know. That is against the law. So they might not tell you the dosages of the ingredients, but they have to tell you the ingredients on the label itself. Okay. Now, the next thing that looks like predatory practice is anything that signs you up to a month-by-month ongoing payment without the option to immediately cancel and refund the remainder. That instantly screams Ponzi scheme to me. Same with anything that tells you to bring in your friends and family and you get a discount. You're in a pyramid scheme. Okay, then if you're looking for a particular practitioner, are they insured? It doesn't mean that they're not safe, but if they're not insured, if something goes wrong, you're on your own. Now, if that's just a moonlight ceremony and, well, the worst you'll do is trip over, not a big deal. But when it comes to certain herbs, certain nutritional supplements or so on, if they're not insured, that could be quite a dangerous situation in a limited amount of circumstances. So that might be worth checking into. And is the product recognised under some form of legislation? So in Australia, which is what I practice in, or the country I practice in, bad English, I'm under what they call the TGA certification, so the Therapeutic Goods Administration certification. I can't prescribe anything that isn't recognised by the TGA without saying that, and even then that's still dicey territory. We're supposed to have best practice, and best practice is to give you something that's well researched and standardised, so it's purchased in a bottle or from an extract that is standardised, so that no matter where I source it from, what I say is on the label is what is in the bottle. Okay, that is not how it's done in a lot of countries. An easy example is the FDA in America. The FDA, I believe, I haven't researched this recently, but I believe they classify most of these supplements under food, which means you do not have to claim correctly. You can just say, oh, it's in there. How much? How much more? It starts to look a bit dicey. So those are the points. And then I want to talk also about, sorry, I'm just rearranging my notes here. So advanced concepts. So the advanced concept of like more manipulative practitioner rather than just products. So if you're going an alternative practitioner, you've got to be really careful of what they would call in relationships the love bomb practitioner. So a love bomb practitioner, like in relationships, is someone who's all over you like a rash. Flattering your ego, saying, I'm the most special one, no one understands you other than me. That instantly is a red flag for me. Another thing that is a red flag for me is when someone will not refer out if it's appropriate, and someone who refuses to work with other practitioners or doctors or so on if it's appropriate. We can't do it all. We shouldn't do it all. There are better people, better techniques, or you have to refer out because it's literally beyond your, what they call your scope of practice, which is to do with your insurance and your qualifications. Oh yes, and the personality shifts. So if you start asking questions like, how long do I have to be on this for? I can only afford 1 month. Or is there a cheaper supplement that's still just as appropriate because I'm on a budget? Or I'm going to go and see this other person as well. How does the practitioner react to you? Do they become like really icy or even like really stonewally or abusive? That's a red flag. In certain situations, we might not like that you go to a particular practitioner or you're trying a particular thing. We, however, are supposed to just tell you that, okay, well, I think this XYZ might be more appropriate. Or if it's a budget issue, a lot of my clients are broke, I'll tell them what they can source at the chemist. That'll do the job okay. It might not be as good as what I would prescribe in my clinic, but it'll get you there enough that you can get the confidence and then go, oh, now I have it in my budget because suddenly I can work an extra 10 hours a week or whatever it might be, you know? Then they can afford the real good stuff rather than just something that will get them up and going. But if someone says, oh, no, I only sell this $1,000 product, nothing else, that's a red flag for me. We do have a very large knowledge base, and even though it might not help our budget to prescribe from a chemist, if that's all you can have, we should be trying to meet what you need rather than just trying to sell products. Okay? Otherwise, are they just too pushy? I get told I'm not pushy enough. That's probably why I'm broke. That's probably why I work with broke people as well, because I know what it's like. And okay, so past the point where you've found some supplements you'd like to try, or you've found a practitioner you'd like to try, do your research, double check it. Don't believe everything that you read just from one article, especially an article that's been pulled off the internet. A lot of their stuff is weird, or it's been AI program squared. Just some crap ass AI rip of someone's content, then it was ripped again, and it's just been mashed together, and by the end of it you're like, wow, no, that's totally inappropriate. But people go, oh yeah, go for it, I read it somewhere. Do your research, and if you find a safety margin for the supplement that you want to try, Go the low or middle end of the safety margin. Don't go maximum dose straight away until you learn how it works. You don't know how reactive you are against something. You don't know if you're going to be the abnormality and you get hurt. And then absolutely journal everything down. Leave it in a place where, say, if you do have a bad reaction to it, your family members or AMBOs or whatever can find that information and they can take it to the hospital. I have received calls from hospitals in the past going, hey, you're the prescribing person for this child or this adult. What is the supplement prescribed for? And then I tell them what I prescribed it for. I've never had a problem. There has never been a reaction from what I prescribed, but because they weren't sure before they gave new agents, they wanted to check to see what it was already on to make sure that there was no counterbalancing effect. So that's what we do it all for. If you're going to prescribe for yourself or advocate for yourself in that direction, then you have to do the legwork that someone like myself would normally do. No issue with that. Nor should anyone else. We don't know your circumstances. You could be broke, you could be disgusted, you could be suffering from something that you will come around. We won't judge. Okay, so the last point is something I've already touched on already. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe. And it doesn't mean that the dosage is safe, and it doesn't mean that something that is safe mixed with something that has been prescribed by some other practitioner or by a specialist, it doesn't mean that they work together safely. So once again, do your research, counter check it against multiple sources of information. It's not the first thing you find on Facebook or not the first thing that you find on, I don't know, YouTube or whatever. A lot of these people, I'm talking real people, not AI rips, they do have some training, but they might look at things a little bit differently, or they might not know your particular health problems. So by all means, absolutely advocate for yourself, especially if you've been ignored. It is better to be proactive in your care rather than just ignore symptoms and feel very, very hurt that you've been ignored. But by all means, check. Okay, so thanks very much. I'll see you again. Oh yes, and contact details are in the description box below if you would like either a consult to read my blog, or if you'd like to shoot through a topic for discussion. Thank you. Bye.